Hey guys, Mrs. Stack here with Patrick,
Hi.
the 6th grader. He is earning some PS3 time by helping me do the comprehension lesson for this coming week. And he chose to learn about King Tut. So what do you know about King Tut, Patrick?
Well, I know about King Tut from my social studies teacher, Mr. Andres.
Shout out to Mr. Andres.
About that he was the youngest pharaoh to rule Egypt. There we go.
Pharaoh, that's the big word right there. And he ruled
Egypt.
Okay, so we are getting our book out, How They Croaked, for our curriculum for our enrichment class. Again, this is about a 9th grade reading level, but we are going to break it down so that any age level, probably more like 4th grade and above, because it is kind of funny, horror, how they died, how they croaked. So let's find out how King Tut croaked. All right, so we looked at our table of contents and Patrick picked the very first story, page 1. That is King Tut, and that is the important info which they wanted to make sure that we got. So he was the king of Egypt. He was born in Egypt circa, which means around 1342 BC. He died in Egypt around 1323 BC, which means how old was he, Patrick?
19.
19. Is that old or young?
No.
That is young. All right, so as we go through any words that Patrick does not know, make sure to kind of be like, and I'll highlight it, and those will be part of our vocabulary words. Because if he doesn't know it, my sophomores might not either. All right, so King Tut. King Tut is more famous for being dead than alive. He was a blip in Egyptian history until 1922. A blip in history, we will define that. Okay, when some explorers hit pay dirt and found his 3,000-year-old mummy nestled inside a giant sarcophagus.
What's that?
We will find that out. Good one. That sounds like a human body part, but it's just a fancy word meaning a stone box for a dead body. These grave-robbing explorers broke into Tut's tomb and took all his gold. And there was a lot of it because King Tut definitely planned on being king in the afterlife. What he didn't plan on was being probed, sliced, dismembered, x-rayed, scanned, and drilled for his DNA. Pictures of a bird, 2 hooks, a comb, an arrow, a sandal strap, and a couple of speed bumps spell Tutankhamun in hieroglyphics. You know what hieroglyphics is? Okay, we'll still define hieroglyphics.
Pictures, meaning words.
Good job. Today, we just call him King Tut. He is also called the Boy King. He got to be the king of Egypt when he was 9 years old. 9 years old. That's how old Aiden is right now. Can you imagine Aiden being king?
No.
He was only 10 when he married Akhenamun, yeah, who unfortunately was his half-sister, which was okay back then, but would be really, really wrong now. Besides ruling Egypt, Tut did regular kid things like riding in chariots, throwing sticks, and firing his slingshot. And then poof, he died. Even though Tut had died, he wasn't finished. Ancient Egyptians believed there is an afterlife after this one. So after his death, Tut's corpse was prepped for life number 2. He was given the 70-day royal mummy treatment. So that Tut wouldn't rot in the trip to his next life, the embalmers,
What does that mean?
We should definitely find out, scooped his insides out from top to bottom. To get his brains out, a long bronze needle with a hook on the end was shoved up his nose. His brain was broken up into teeny bits and pulled out one piece at a time.
Messed up.
The Egyptians believed the brain's only job was to keep the ears apart, and that the heart did all the thinking. Interesting. They didn't take Tut's teeth, nails, and eyeballs. They left Tut's heart in his body because he was going to need that to think. And they left his genitals so no one would mistake him for Queen Tut.
My gosh.
Next, they cut open Tut's stomach and pulled out whatever they could get their hands on, like his liver,
Or
his
the large intestine.
stomach, his lungs, and 22 feet of intestines.
The duodenum. The I can't say it. The duodenum. The duodenum.
Do a diggy diddy dum diddy do? What? I don't know what he just did.
The duodenum.
Okay, so back to King Tut. 22 feet of intestines. Everything was washed, dried, and put into 4 jars and wrapped to go with him. Okay, so this is a picture of them, the machine they would have used to pull out his brains through his nose. And then they're going to put them in jars very similar to these to lay next to the sarcophagus so that all of his pieces will be with him in the afterlife. All right.
Like back then, you couldn't fake your death if you faked.
Oh
your
no.
death.
You definitely would not want to fake your death back then. That would be a bad idea. Okay, and we will come back in part 2 to finish up King Tut, how he croaked.